Welcome to Horrible Decisions. I am super excited for today's episode. My name is Wheezy.
And it's your girl, Mandy B, a.k.a. the Booty Bandit.
And I shot my shot for the guest that we have.
Yes.
I took a very thoughty photo with her book between my legs in Mexico. Mainly, I was like, oh, I'm reading this. It's yellow. My bathing suit's yellow.
It matched.
But we have a guest in, and she wrote this book that I'm in love with. And by the way, so I just want to read the back of the book because I was like, how do I find this bitch?
That's what you did.
And then at the end of it, it says she curates the annual Legacy of the Witch charity festival in Brooklyn, New York. And I was like, oh my God. So I Googled your name, and then I saw some professional email, and I was like, nah, let me do the gram. And I'm so excited.
I got it.
Right?
I was actually at the bar, and I was like, what the I mean, I love, people take amazing photos, but that was a fucking amazing photo. Thanks. And like, as I drank also, I got so many followers, you know, it's just what happened. So I was like, holy shit, thank you. And I've totally heard of your podcast. And I'm actually like, this is bad to say, but I don't listen to podcasts a lot, but I listen to like specific episodes. And I've listened because Vice, after they covered you, I was like, oh, I gotta listen to this.
Shout out Vice.
Thank you, Cooper. Introduce yourself, please.
So yeah, my name is Kristin Sollee, aka Kristin Corvette on the internet, just because, I don't know, it's like a trashy car. And
it's definitely like a porn
Is it a trashy car?
Kristin Corvette sounds super, like, fuckable.
It does.
I mean, it's not like a trashy car, but it's not like a fancy car.
It's not a Ferrari, but like...
Right. I can afford it. Well, I don't actually have a fucking Corvette yet, so that's like on the list of to-dos, so.
I Googled your book, like, to like get some info on it, like, before I was doing this, and like, you're all over the internet, like, you're top 10 this, top 10 that.
That's
humble flex.
So,
very...
can't afford...
I'm modest.
Can't afford... Like,
but you know, it doesn't always translate to dollars.
I know that's right, because the way our HBO feature was set up.
Still grateful,
right,
but waiting on the Corvette. So that's, you know.
Listen, I'm really excited for people to pick up this book, so I want to tell you a little bit about how I found it. I shop at a bookstore called Blue Stockings. You know what I'm talking about?
Of course.
Activist bookstore in the Lower East Side, and I always pass by it on my walk home, and your cover made me like, oh shit. Didn't even read the back of the book, but like, that was good. It says, her book is called Witches, Sluts, and Feminists. I really love this book. Like, honestly, I don't like books with like, I don't know, just too much like real stuff. Like, I like... Give me like
fair.
Like, I fuck with like Zane. Like, no, fiction.
Oh, you like fiction?
I like a good like ghetto erotica type of book.
Oh, yeah, same.
You know what I mean? But this was just a book that like really resonated with me. And I mean... 250,000 witches dying, like all of that, like, yeah. Just tell us a little bit, like, why'd you write this book and what is it?
Yeah. So I've always been interested in sex and
so have we.
Alternative ways of talking about sex and non-normative sex.
Alternative
and
ways of talking about
prescriptions against sex, the stigma against sexuality, especially like female sexuality, any kind of non-normative sexuality, according to like white patriarchal whatever. And so that's always been an interest. I've always been fascinated with the occult. My mom's a witch, but never really connected the two until, I don't know, like 6-7 years ago. I started this site called Slutist, and
that's your website?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
did you read about it?
No, I was about to get into the your mama being a witch.
Oh, right. Well, I'm just sort of throwing it out.
Oh, wait, I want to get to it.
Like, shit.
I have lots of witch questions because I was thinking it was going to be scarier than I thought until you broke witch down.
Yeah,
just wait.
Yeah.
Okay,
like for real, I was mind blown.
I'm not here for the brujas and the witches.
You got to be here for the brujas.
I definitely wrote this book so both types of people can relate to it, and I feel like I tried to do that.
Yeah, I'm the sluts part of it.
Right.
You think you are, maybe not in 16-something, just wait.
Right.
Okay.
So there is a way to look at it if you don't believe in any of that shit. My dad's a hardcore atheist. My mom's a witch, so they did not stay married long. But so I feel like I had a good position, sort of, I can put myself in both places.
Yeah.
Because I sort of run in both sides of the whatever belief systems. I'm still like, I'm definitely an agnostic in a lot of ways too, but I'm also a witch, whatever. So because of that, I felt like I was in a unique position to talk about the way women in particular have been demonized throughout history, often because of sexuality or men not understanding women's sexuality or wanting to own it and possess it and treat them like bodies to be used and discarded. And oftentimes the witch was the archetype thrust upon these women, whether they are super Christian or atheists or just like didn't go to church or whatever. So
based on their sexuality.
I read something in your book that
Right.
said men were able to basically sentence a woman to her death by saying she looked at them and they had sex with her and so she must be a witch.
Yeah.
Basically seduction.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the opposite was true too. If a woman didn't, have sex with the man she was supposed to, or maybe marry a man she was supposed to, that could also be witchcraft. If she's sharing information about reproduction or fertility, that could be witchcraft.
It was called succubuses, I think.
That's definitely.
I learned
You might not know genitalia.
Bitch, that was from Charmed, and I only know the succubus was the man eater.
Yeah, it's a female sexual demon.
Female
Now-
sexual demon.
I read something where you said 250,000, was it more than 250,000 women died for being quote unquote witches?
we digging right into this, ain't we?
No, just a little bit.
So actually, the numbers are really sketchy because a lot of there's incomplete records, and they didn't always write down when they would murder someone. But it's actually, there were some feminists in the 70s, I say there, that said that many. There were like over millions of women, but now numbers point to, according to like sort of even-handed social scientists, maybe like 200,000. 50 to 200,000. But I still think the point is that this demonization happened, and it still happens in plenty of countries today.
So 200,000 women died for being hoes, pretty much. Like
a lot of
fucking
them
and
for
stuff?
being hoes, yeah. I mean, some of them were just like wrong place, wrong time, and people got caught up in the fervor.
Bro, when I met the birthmark thing, we'll get into it, but that freaked me out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into some vanilla shit. So, Kristin, it's our segment where we talk about an article where it's sex in the news.
Sure.
In this article, I really...
Why do we be breaking down vanilla shit so difficult? It is. It's just sex in the news, y'all.
I don't
That's
know.
What it is. We be getting so.
I want to be more articulate
Yeah, I
because,
that.
like, your
It's
book
sex in the
was.
news.
I just...
It's sex in the news.
No, it's just like a news article about sex. So it's on Variety.com, and the headline is Terry Gilliam says Me Too movement has transformed into mob rule. It's a world of victims. I think people did very well out of meeting with Harvey, and others didn't. The ones who did knew what they were doing. These are adults we're talking about here, adults with ambition. He claimed that these women didn't actually suffer, but furthered their careers, and that he knew women who walked out of meetings with the mogul before getting sexually abused, quote unquote. I feel sorry for someone like Matt Damon, who's a decent human being. He came out and said, not all men are rapists, and then he got beaten to death. Like, come on, that's crazy. Despite describing the Me Too movement as simplistic and silly, he said that Weinstein was a monster and warned that there were people still in the industry like him. I don't think Hollywood will change. Power takes advantage. It always does and always has.
Who is this? Who wrote that?
A guy is Terry Gilliam. I
It
guess.
sounds like Future. Because Future actually just came out. Yeah, so he actually just came out when everyone was talking about the R. Kelly documentary. He came out and was like, I think y'all giving it too much attention. Excuse me? Says the man who's sitting here impregnating all these women, sitting here showing that he's a
Don't ruin it,
misogynist.
bro. I love being ghetto to that shit.
Oh, no, I'm ready to cancel Future. I know we don't like the cancel culture, but he's one of those that has showed that he doesn't really care about where a woman stands. He verbally abuses
People
them
don't
even
know
on
how to
social
shut
media,
the
bro.
fuck
No, he shouldn't have
up.
said a goddamn thing. So you reading that, I'm like, bitch, did Future write this? Like, we're giving too much attention.
I know.
It's now a mob thing.
But
what?
I really was interested in your opinion in, have you ever been, or how do you feel reading that? Has someone ever said you're pushing feminist culture too much, or feminist culture is toxic? What does that mean when people say that? We're toxic
That just
feminists.
pissed me off.
I mean, that's also a popular buzzword: toxic masculinity, toxic femininity, whatever,
Right.
And I get it. Too much of anything is like a bad thing, except for when you're talking about equal rights for all humans.
Right.
I don't know
Right.
how you can do too much of that.
That makes sense. You're right.
Right.
So, like,
So-
how do we, have you had some pushback on your book being too feminist?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's some fun, like, trolly right-wing articles like, liberals and feminists are all witches now,
Right.
Which is really them being upset about, people just seeing this lineage of persecution that just continues. And it's just the same thing as it happens today in all different ways, that the, like, dominant people with the most privilege blame the most oppressed people for all their problems.
Yep.
That happens, obviously, with every segment of society, whether it's immigrants or people of color or like women with the Me Too movement, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just talking about things that happened in the past that are still
happening.
and
Whether
that's
it's
why
happening
people are pissed.
or it's happening the same way, but a different way in
Right.
the same sense. So
Right.
even though maybe we're not dealing with segregation or slavery anymore, you can still sit here and kind of draw aligned to the pay wage gap,
Right.
or maybe not having equal opportunity the way that you're claiming we're equal
Right.
opportunity employers, but yet you're still sitting here not allowing certain people or demographics to get those jobs. So I love that you're doing that. All you're doing is drawing a line from maybe centuries ago, hundreds of years ago. I didn't read the book. I probably will read the book now because I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, witches girl again? I was like, shit, bitch, we gonna be talking about spells and shit.
We had Amelia Ortiz. I don't know if you know her.
Yeah.
And one of our most listened to episodes. A lot of people really liked
love
it.
Amelia,
Yeah.
and she's the good bruja, and she's dope. I actually hit her up recently. I watched Bird Box. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
And I was like, Amelia, I really need your help. Like, I didn't know how demonic this movie would be. I can't sleep. And she gave me a chant and basically told me to, if I ever feel that way, just say, hey, like, if you're not of the light, I want you to leave. And she's like,
prayer?
Quote, chant, prayer. We always
It's
assume
going to be different? Okay.
Well, no, we associate prayer, and I do, with religion. So, like, just saying something to make yourself feel good, it really fucking helps me.
I'm going to send you a song
Saging.
next time you feel bad. I got some good, happy songs. They
It's
make
the
me
same
feel
thing.
good.
It's like a ritual.
It is.
It makes you feel empowered. Yes, that could
It's
be
just
witchcraft.
all different
you
verbiage,
could call
right?
that, you don't have to
Or
call
a
it that,
movie,
but-
girl. Every time
There
I
you go.
watch 300, I feel like I could beat anybody whole ass. So 300 is my movie I go to when I feel like
I do
the
gotta
world
watch
is taking
comedies
down
after
me.
a scary
okay,
movie.
Yeah, 300 is my movie.
I wanted only to read that because I really
I like what
get
you said.
annoyed
Yeah.
with how the Me Too movement is described as this culture of like people tagging on. And also interesting, a friend of the show, and we've had her on, Leah McSweeney, has had a lot of controversial YouTubes and blogs she's put up for saying that the Me Too movement can be toxic because she feels like real kind of rapes are violent, right? Or there are women that are being violated, and she feels like certain women are using it as a, I don't want to quote her wrong, but
it's weird 'cause
basically saying it's a little too much. And a lot of girls don't like that. And
But
so,
she also said that she doesn't believe in a rape culture. So even
Right.
so having that idea of a rape culture, and even just the dialogue going through now, a lot of people listen to the Joe Budden show, and even men now questioning, well, shit, how can I talk to a woman now since everything is Me Too? And now I
Right.
feel like if I just holler at you now, I sexually assaulted you. And so now there's men that are blurring those lines where it's like, y'all know what the fuck we talking about.
Of course.
Like,
Absolutely.
come the fuck on.
Any reasonable person knows like what consent looks like and what appropriate behavior looks like.
Right.
But I get it. We're in this like new territory where everything is, taken to the extreme or not listened to at all. It's sort of like either or. You know,
Yeah.
we haven't found, you have to go far to go back, to go to the middle, to sort of even out, your understandings about all these
I
things.
hate questions about, I know you're playing up the kink, but I hate questions where men are like, well, how do I know? And it's like,
Yeah.
Right.
you don't?
Right.
God
Right.
damn.
So we're going to go ahead. So every show we have a kink of the week. This is another one. We're going to go ahead and warn y'all since mad people is throwing up with the porn categories episode.
Felching?
This one is rather nasty. You picked felching and I was disgusted.
It's like
if
when a
you-
guy eats
you
a
know
cream
about
pie out of your-
felching? Yeah. She
You
picked
do?
that, and she said it. She described it so disgustingly. I said, "Bleh." I was like, oh my God.
I read the words out of my phone. I described it so
I don't
disgustingly.
know. Maybe you read really good that time. Because I normally don't like when you read, but she read it with like,
I'm good at reading in my head.
oh, and you
but
made
just
that
not
shit-
out of my mouth.
So this, so the kink of the week for this week, guys, is ovipositor. A kink that involves laying eggs into someone, usually involving alien eggs, bugs, tentacles, etc., and can be seen occasionally in hentai. There is a large amount of art involving it on Tumblr and is commonly associated with the inflation kink. Another thing that I brought up.
What's inflation? I was trying to find that because a girl told me she watches that.
So inflation, I love how my phone just goes to different links. So according to UrbanDictionary.com,
Urban Dictionary.
inflation is one, a sexual practice in which the practitioner inflates his or her stomach by inserting air or fluid into his or her rectum.
Can't
usually
you
with a
kill
pump.
someone with like
Yeah,
you blow in their
probably.
pussy?
Two, it's a fetish involving inflation of all parts of the body. So think Violet in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, usually the stomach. This fetish tends to be related to furries and is often portrayed in an outwardly non-sexual context.
Well, I'm going through inflation right now. I'm on my period.
Bloated?
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe a nigga might like a little bloated belly. So one of the articles that I actually pulled up
that's so
is
creepy.
from Vice.com. Again, shout out Vice. It says that the emerging fetish of laying alien eggs inside yourself. So there's actually these toys that you can get at the sex shop.
I've been wearing eggs for years. I never thought about it, bro.
So they look like alien penises, and they shoot out eggs, and you can shoot the eggs into yourself if you're into this kink, I
like
guess.
yoni eggs, but like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they actually look really weird. I don't know if y'all can see
This
here
is crazy.
on YouTube.
They're not that weird to me now.
And it's asking, so this article is asking how people got into it. This is also asking where the sexual gratification comes from it.
What does it say?
It says, let's face it, there are 3 things that will always sell: food, death, and sex. I tried food service and decided after managing 3 restaurants and owning that one day in and day out, that it didn't look like much was going to change. Death didn't really interest me, so I wanted something more fun, something that breaks the monotony of people's days and makes them spit out their coffee when they tell you that they like to do. So basically, to me, it would be maybe something
The
that...
shock factor?
Just the shock factor of maybe thinking about it. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like aliens would have like the biggest dicks. Like their dicks would be like bigger than horses. I don't know why I envision aliens. So this is something that's really
Would
weird.
you fuck one?
So I'm into sci-fi, and I've said this on the show often. Clearly, I don't believe in science, which is probably why I'm so into sci-fi. So I know because it's science fiction. It's fake shit, bro. So I really be like into sci-fi, like thinking if the world is these aliens, maybe I think they all friendly. I just don't know why we think aliens are bad people.
I think they're friendly too.
And I feel like they would all give women orgasms since men can't. So I'm here for aliens coming to.
Wow, we
take
know
over
the
New
first
York.
porn you're gonna direct. Speaking of laying egg porn, what's the weirdest thing you think you came across while searching porn online, Kristin?
Just generally.
Yeah.
Not research for the book.
Oh wait, no. Did you do research for this book?
Oh, I just was thinking, of course.
Okay. Which
Should I do research for the book?
I just meant
Bitch, am I
like
here?
early modern, like medieval type sexual scenarios. I read a lot about that, but that's not really.
Medieval
porn.
sex. Do they? I didn't.
medieval people have
No.
sex?
I haven't really came across porn like that, but like, yeah.
There gotta be Game of Thrones is mad pop.
Totally.
I'm sure there's parodies of Game of
all
Thrones,
kinds
bro.
of like cosplay shit. But
Yeah.
as far as just general porn, I guess I've seen a friend of mine had some robot porn that had the robots had all the different parts, like 2 giant penises and a vagina and an asshole, and so it was, really, really.
Not like a hot human-like robot, but
was a
just like robot.
Well, the face looked like a woman.
Okay.
And there were breasts, but, multiple penises, anus, vagina.
Now, what did your
alien
friend do?
robot, bitch.
Did your friend get off on this porn?
Oh, yeah, he actually paid for it, and I think that's awesome. You should pay for your porn.
Okay.
And,
Well, you have to because it's
to
so such
support
a niche.
That's
right.
definite
But
niche, yeah.
that was totally like animated, so But
Oh, so it was animated?
yeah,
I didn't take that it was animated.
Okay, hentai.
It was
No, hentai is all animated porn? No.
I think so.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
But this was like not because hentai, technically is like Japanese, right?
yeah.
So this was Russian, and
Russian robot cartoon.
Trump got it.
yeah. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
That's some weird shit.
No, that's weird. I think we said some weird shit, but that was some weird shit.
Dude, so the weirdest ones we said on our last episode.
They got it because we're not gonna make them.
No, I'm just saying one more
relive that
time. Kristin, someone wrote in, he said, well, I was watching this porn where 6 dudes come in a cup, they put it in a frying pan, cook it up,
Like scrambled
feed
eggs.
it to a girl, and it really looked like eggs.
shit. And I was just like, I want to know what rabbit hole he had to go down to find that one.
That's not that far, dude. I watch
No?
Bukkake every night, and someone's like, I'm not into the feeding on like spoons or cups. I like just come on face or like body. I think that's
Right.
sexy. But like girls drink it all the time.
it
and
makes sense.
It
That's
makes-
the next step.
It is.
This popsicle ones, right?
Well, I
Like
told you,
frozen
look,
cum in
and
a-
I've said it, I guess, and I just guess I wasn't into it. So I have a guy that used to make me squirt like every time we had sex, and he literally wanted me to squirt in a cup so that he could mix it with Ciroc and drink it.
There you go.
And so
You
we
know
gotta
what?
come up with a
Like-
name for that drink.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There are moments where I'm looking at porn or hearing shit like that, and it doesn't really shock me, and I'm like, when did I go too far?
I don't think that's too
How
far.
did we get here?
If it's
You don't
just
think that's
being
too far?
open-minded.
I like that.
She's already-
open-minded.
we
sis.
should be saying
It's
that.
open fucking minded.
You know what? I did a fucking gangbang like because I'm open minded.
Yes.
You Fucking Republicans. Okay, so our horrible decision for the week is obviously Witches, Sluts, and Feminists. First question, why do we need this book?
I know that's right. Boom. You ain't know you was going to get asked that, huh?
I mean, really.
I mean, I got to say, it's not for everybody. So
okay, I like that.
But why should we read it? Because we should.
Yeah. I think even if you totally disagree with everything, look, I'm putting forth a lot of history, interviews with a lot of different people, and I'm showing how women and feminine folks, which includes like genderqueer femmes or trans women, you know, how femininity has been devalued and how women and feminine folks have been persecuted throughout history because of that. And just drawing all these different disparate parts of art and culture and literature,
it's
philosophy.
It's a very. It feels like a really historical, and I don't want this turn people off, but like I learned a lot more than I thought.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
See, well, I like that when I was in probably my junior year of college, we had to take certain electives, and one was women in history, and so that's where I actually don't like history, but I enjoyed reading that at one point nymphomaniacs were treated as mentally unstable and had to go to like crazy houses and stuff like that.
I think they're trying to do that again.
Just because women enjoyed sex. And I feel like that's possibly what they are trying to do, even in this age where right now we're not Tumblr. They're taking that away.
Yeah.
They're also taking away on Instagram. So, bitch, I don't know if we're going to have the horrible decisions page much longer.
I know.
But if it seems like we're insinuating that people should go out and have sex, they're canceling those type of pages too.
Wildflower Sex is a big Instagram that just got deleted. They got it back. But, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's horrible, what's going on with Fosta Sesta and the persecution of sex workers. And this also ties into that because I'm going back into history with the sacred whore and talking about, the way women's sexuality and spirituality was not thought of as, totally anathema. You know? Like, those things could be combined and were combined in certain belief systems thousands of years ago. And there'd be priestesses in these temples where you would go, have sex with them, and you'd reach communion with the goddess through having sex with them.
Yeah.
And that's like the highest, the highest ecstasy you could receive. And now, the way sex workers are treated and abused and not given rights in our country, and countries around the world, of course, too, it's just unconscionable.
Right.
And so that's like the next step is to realize, to destigmatize sexuality overall means to also like treat sex workers with the same respect and give them equal rights that we all
but it's
deserve.
Not even only sex workers. I wanted to bring this down to any men who are listening who are like, man, that's not me. I want to simplify it because it's a common thing that we even have with this podcast where a lot of men think that women don't have sex to enjoy sex. They think that women attach all sexual acts to emotions, to where women don't cheat, or if you do this, you a hoe or a slut, because a woman attaches all emotions to sex.
Like we can,
instead of just thinking that, hey, maybe as a woman, I want to feel pleasure and I want to come. And even if you date it back to the early centuries where women were just looked at as reproductive organs, like it was looked down upon if a woman just said, hey, I like having sex.
Absolutely.
Now that you're talking about that, Kristin, can you tell us, because she's saying some things that I think you brought up with witches, like what were things that why were you called a witch? What were some of those things that you could do? One of them you mentioned was the art of seduction or birthmarks. Like, can you tell us some of those things?
Yeah. And just to respond to what you're saying before, I totally agree. It's not just sex workers. That's just like, the like heightened example.
Right.
But all female sexuality, all women's sexuality is anyone who identifies as a slut. Obviously, you don't have to be a professional slut. You can be a civilian slut.
Yep.
And like you get you get a lot of that stigma as well.
Civilian slut. Oh, that's us.
I like that.
Yeah,
civilians.
and civilian slut got to stand up for the professional sluts. We
Hey,
gotta build this
we
alliance.
do.
You totally do.
We missed that. That was a bad. We just tried to.
That was so good. I loved it.
So yeah, going back to some of the same like things that are happening to sluts today for just wanting to enjoy
Amber
pleasure
Rose or
consensually.
those, right.
Exactly. Amber Rose is in the book.
Okay, you bring it up.
By the way, I didn't write you. You wrote Amber Rose, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I read Sojourner Truth, and I was like, oh, that's it. She's coming. Oh yeah, that's right. So what was a witch back then? What could you be a witch for?
One could be if you had a birthmark or an unusual marking, where they, especially in like British cases of witchcraft, because they thought there'd be animal familiars, which were these like little demon animals, often sometimes in the form of a cat or like a goat or a rabbit, and they would suckle on a witch's teat or sort of this protrusion of flesh, which oftentimes would be the clitoris. So they would just, search a woman's body to find something that was a little off, and a clit would count as. They're like, oh yeah, she has a clit. That's
what? Are you serious?
Like if you had a big clit.
Yes.
If you had a big clit,
they'd be like, oh yeah, that's where the animal demon suckles, and so you're a witch. Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I got eczema, so I'm sure they're gonna find my birthmark.
Right.
Bitch.
An extra nipple, anything, and so that was one.
Wow.
And of course, the search itself is like sanctified assault by the state. There's like men searching the bodies of these women for,
So they really have not been knowing what to do with the clip for years.
For a long time. They ain't know what it was.
It's been demonized literally. Like they literally thought it was the province of some little demon. Like the little fleshy area has been
See why your mom's a witch, cuz
feared for centuries.
So like what about women? Okay, so what about women's sexuality made them a witch?
Yeah. I guess, being too sexual.
Breasts, hips, or maybe not that?
I don't have any evidence that I know of how a woman's
physical.
like body would be to deem her a witch or not. I
Okay.
mean, it's possible, but I don't
Right.
have the evidence for that.
Okay.
But just acting out of the ordinary, and the ordinary would change depending on the town and the the
Right.
country or the region. So all the witch hunts, it differed all over all over Europe, and there were some men. Obviously, I got to say that I don't like to spend too much time talking about.
I saw you
men
put like less than
accused of-
10% or something.
Right, it's not many, but like 80% are women. But there are men who are accused of witchcraft as well, and oftentimes it was because they were related to an accused female witch.
Oh, shit. They just wanted to kill the whole
So
goddamn
like,
family.
yeah, if your mom, your sister, your wife, you're probably next. So,
Oh, shit.
yeah, and
Slutty
if you're,
sisters.
and if you're a woman who's accused of witchcraft but then like acquitted, sometimes you would be let off, or you would say, yes, I did speak to the devil, but I deny him now, and they'd let you go and not kill you. Then you would always have this like mark on your name, and maybe 20 years later, and more witch hunts are coming up wherever you live. Then you're just bound to
my
be thrown
God.
back
Was
in.
this related to the Salem witch trials at all?
So this all happened sort of leading up to like the Salem witch trial. So that was influenced by the same beliefs that were percolating for hundreds of years beforehand.
Okay.
And so Salem is a little different. And I don't want to like bore everybody with some of that. But that was a lot of this also was political. It wasn't all about like female sexuality.
Right.
Sometimes it was like a grudge or trying to make alliances so they would like get rid of people that way by accusing them of witchcraft. So in Salem, a lot of it was that. It was not really about female sexuality so much. Even.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because I've been reading so much of that, I wasn't sure. Like, which.
We can't even.
But-
Can we do that today?
What?
Is there anything that we can put onto somebody to make everybody? I guess the same way we do.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
Like, if you're saying that people were doing it for gain,
Yeah.
is there anything that today we could call somebody and they could completely be exiled? I guess a pedophile,
Yeah, a rapist.
a rapist or
Rapist.
pedophile.
So, okay,
Like,
so basically, which was up there, you'd get beheaded.
that's insane.
So I wanted to bring something up. You mentioned Amber Rose in your book and Slut Walk, and I don't know if this was your book or I read somewhere else, but I thought it was your book where you said she used to slut shame or she changed her tune.
Yeah, that was an interview that I read in The Guardian, and I quoted her.
I-
And she said she used to call women sluts and hoes in a bad way.
Right.
And
Okay.
then,
I like that you fixed that. She used to call women in a bad way.
Yeah,
Bad way,
'cause,
right? Because
like,
right now
I don't
it's
see
not.
that
Now
as
she
Well,
doesn't.
not
It's
even for you to
bad- a
read
bad
that,
thing.
but I only wanted to bring that up to just ask you both.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Can women change their minds? And if they do, and they have, because we talked about Amber Rose doing it, what's the most slut shamey thing you used to do before you woke up? Because I'm going to tell you mine.
Okay.
I used to talk shit when I was like a little bit younger in high school about girls that were having sex or got fingered or anything when I was 100% doing it. Like I would shame them, talk shit about it, and I would do it, whether it would be like anything. I'd be like, oh my God, she's a fucking whore. Like I would. And I was wondering if you guys had had a moment where you've been like that and then you had to get comfortable. Whether it be lying about your body count or anything.
So I'll actually say, this is something even as recent as us starting the podcast. I do still think that hoe and slut are not good words. So even with this podcast and uplifting that word, it's still something that I don't want to be referred to as. So to me, that's still kind of a slut-shamey type of mindset, because I do want to, I know that slut and hoe and these words were probably created by men just to shame women in their sexuality. And so unfortunately, as
Do you
myself,
think that you think that way because, you know, people are using those words to be hurtful?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think that that's necessary. I just did this analogy on when I was on the Inner Hoe Uprising, and I said, you know, there's times where I think I want to stop saying the N word because I should be more woke, right?
Right.
I was like, because I definitely cringe when I hear the F word. But I realize why I do. It's because nobody says my F like they say, you my nigga. There's
Right.
never a term of endearment.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know when someone...
we say what's up, hoe, what's up, bitch, like it's nothing.
Right. So like
Okay.
we can feel comfortable with these words, right? But I think that you know when someone tries to call you that, they aren't being nice, like, or try to say it in a way where it
Right.
can feel hurtful.
Right.
Even hate to bring it up, but you got a huge argument, public argument with Tahoe about it. You know that word, what it felt like when you heard it.
Yeah. So, okay, if you're not going to count that, then goddamn, take them out goddamn answer away. I
didn't mean you had to take it away.
I would say it would be more so in the realm of when I did hang around more sex workers. So growing up, and I say growing up, I would say between 18 to about 22, a lot of my friends were sex workers, from porn stars, strippers, escorts. I still have friends that are escorts. And so I would say I would slut shame the free hoes. I would slut shame the girls who are out there fucking and not getting money. Or the girls who are out there just fucking for flights. Like, bitch, you fucking for flights.
Instead of enjoying sex.
Why are you... Yeah.
That's a good one.
I would shame women who literally just wanted to enjoy sex.
I'm sure I've said something like that, too.
Instead, just because all of my friends were like, bitch, if you got a pussy, you need to be charging. So I would literally shame the free hoes, we call it, because there's paid hoes and free hoes. And so I guess at that point in my life, I would look down on women who didn't charge.
I kind of still do that, like, oh, you didn't get anything out of it?
Yeah.
I loved when Nina Kay, she's a porn star who came on and she talked about this fun threesome she had. She was like, oh my God, he flew me out from Tampa to Miami.
Well, no, do you know?
It was free.
And I'll sit here and say that. I feel like thinking that I used to have that thought process.
You had it for yourself?
No, people direct that to me. And when I talk about pegging or the enjoyment of pegging, a lot of women and men be like, wait, you do that for free? And so people want me to charge to peg niggas. And so I be like, I enjoy doing it. Why would I charge? And so, yeah. So the same thing that I put out to other people, like I get it now, but I enjoy doing that. Why would I charge is the mindset.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
If a woman enjoys having sex, why should she charge?
That's a really good one.
That is good.
What's yours?
I think, I'm trying to think, because I did go to like an all-girls school, and it was really cool to be as slutty as possible. So
how are you slutty with all girls?
Well, you would like go to the all-boys school or with each other.
Okay.
So I grew up I grew up lying a lot about having done a lot of stuff I didn't do yet.
Ooh, you're like reverse slut shame.
Yeah, like so I would shop.
You know what? It makes sense. You wrote this fucking book.
Yeah,
I
that
went
makes sense.
like I was going to like kink clubs when I was a virgin. I mean, I don't even believe in virginity, but you know what I mean.
You don't.
You don't believe in virginity.
That's interesting. Tell us why.
Well, I think
I don't believe in science
that
either,
whole
girl.
like the whole concept of attaching some sort of value to
the pop and the cherry.
whether, and it's all based really on sort of like a heteronormative, like, you know, idea of a penis entering a vagina and in a woman or whatever. So I think there's a lot of problems associating like changing how society views you based on if a dick has been in you. Like that's just
I like that.
Totally
thought
like
process.
it too.
I really like that. And what's crazy?
She's a virgin. Oh wow.
But what's crazy?
Right.
Even with what you just said, she's a virgin. We attach virginity in that to
Ooh,
just women.
only women.
Come on,
and
woke
not
shit.
men. Yes,
Right.
bitch, I'm woke ho.
Right, and so like, what does virginity mean if you're queer? Like, if you're not like a cis
you're
man
not
and a cis
having
woman.
Dude, I
Right.
always used to ask,
I like
right?
that.
So when I was growing up, I knew I liked girls, but didn't really claim bisexuality until a little bit older. I always used to be so curious, like, how do lesbians lose it? Do they always have their virginity?
Right, until a dick goes inside
So there
them.
you go.
Right,
That's
I agree.
totally fucked up.
It is.
Anyway, besides that point,
I like
so
that.
I was still like going
Look
to.
at us. I'm loving this. We're
I
civilian
know.
hoes.
We be a real feminist in this episode too, bitch. Hello.
That was interesting. I like that
I
one.
like that too.
I'm glad. I think we should like spread that to the youth.
There is no virginity. Virginity is not a thing, guys.
Right. Anyway, so I went
You
to
would
kink
lie
clubs when
about-
I was like 15,
Okay.
and I would still be like a virgin. So I think for me, it was like thinking you had to do. That's not really what you're asking, but just like
no,
that
that's
sex-
good. If you have to be the reverse slut,
that you're
Yeah,
like
that's fine.
forced.
Right.
I don't know that you're really uncool or you're being a prude or terrible if you want to say no. So that was a thing for me because I thought consent. Obviously, I'm like 36, so consent was not like a thing.
I was about
taught.
to ask, like, so what? Like, I don't know.
You ain't want to ask her age?
Yeah, so consent was not like a thing. You just like
Do
people
it.
want to do it to you. You say okay, or you're uncool.
Right.
So that was.
Where'd you
also,
grow up, by the way?
DC.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Are you going this
y'all was
weekend
in-
for the Women's March?
I was at the original, but I'll probably be at the New York one. So
Oh, okay.
I went to the original DC one.
I do
That
have
was good.
now a question. You brought up Satan and the political rebellion.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, because I was already scared after Bird Box. But then I found it very interesting that Satanists or
Satanists.
didn't mention really worshiping the devil, because I
no.
thought Satan was the devil. Now they're feminists. Can you explain that
Yeah.
section?
So
Yeah.
I'm sure, and I know that there are people who, worship a devil in the sense that, preachers and Christianity says they have for
Religious
hundreds of years.
reasons. Yeah.
Right. But I've never met those people, whatever. But today, there are groups of people who identify as Satanists, but Satan is like an archetype, an icon of being like the eternal rebel. So they take the
Just
idea
rejecting God.
Right. They take ideas of Satan from literature in the past. So basically, it's Satan as this sort of, kind of non-traditional bad boy.
Antichrist.
Right.
Okay.
And against, following these rules that, like, the Christian church have set up for us.
So I've been conditioned to be scared.
Right. So there's nothing scary about those Satanists at all. But of course, when they do things, people still come out to protest because they think they're drinking the blood of babies or this and that. But there's a lot more ethics involved in Satanism than I would say in a lot of Christianity right now.
Like
or
for what?
Overall,
Like give us one or two.
As far as, bodily autonomy, they believe they have different tenets. There's different like satanic groups, so there's not just one. So they all sort of go about their Satanism in a different way. But a lot of it is just based on individuality, individual rights, and, fighting for other people's rights in your community.
Dude, when I saw that with Satanists, I was like, so they really be out here fighting for black people? All right. Like, that shit really fucked me up. Like, Satanists and the political rebellion, I thought that was a really cool chapter. I also am curious to know, you said your mom's a witch. What's a witch right now? What is
Oh
a
my
witch?
God, it's
question,
so many
bitch.
things, and that's
Right? Because
Yeah,
Amelia
what
is
is
a
that?
bruja, but she's not a bad person.
But a
Right.
bruja,
Like,
if
you're
you go
wearing
into-
black eyeliner
Yeah.
right now and fishnet.
This
Like,
is
what's
gothic.
up?
This isn't witch. This is goth.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, that's what we think
Wait,
of.
is
Like,
goth witch too? Like, because that.
no, but the aesthetics. There's a big crossover.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because goth aesthetics come from sort of an obsession.
like
with
you
the
have kind of like a
occult
cape
and whatever.
on, but it's not a cape. It's a scarf. What is this?
a cape?
I don't
It's
know.
like a bandana.
I didn't know what to call it, bitch. You know, I'll be knowing the words and shit.
Oh, she came for your
I was
knuckle.
thinking
Okay.
maybe there was a hoodie that go above.
I mean, I should be wearing
You
Like,
it.
know,
is that a
I know,
fucking
bitch.
scarf? Maybe. You're wearing a cape.
My bad.
I can't wait till we post a picture of us all together. So you can
My
see I'm wearing a
bad.
cape.
I wish I'd
Okay.
worn something more dramatic. But as far as what a witch is today, that answer can be anyone. There are so many different ways people define witch and people practice witchcraft. There are Christian witches, Jewish witches, atheist witches, Wiccan witches,
But
voodoo
you,
practitioners.
what is it? You teach an annual. You have an annual witch.
I have a charity festival. Actually, I haven't done it in a year because this
Witches
book
are
actually
charity.
got.
Think about charity.
Oh no! So basically,
Good witch then. Okay.
Glenda.
So basically the proceeds from the festival go to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network because
wow.
I'm sort of tying this lineage of, people persecuted for supposedly practicing witchcraft in the past to, the abuse of women. So
Oh, we were so
that's-
up in there this
Yeah,
year.
and I wanted to ask you. So when you posted the book and I started commenting back and forth with some of our followers, they started saying even some of the spells that still go on today. So it's a myth. I don't know if it's a myth or what maybe it's voodoo, period blood going in spaghetti, which is why there's a myth that you're not supposed to eat everyone's spaghetti. Have you heard of this one?
I've not heard that one, but there's all kinds of stuff I don't know.
Peeing in his drink or something.
So apparently the period blood,
peeing in the tea.
The period blood in the spaghetti is supposed to make him love you forever.
Oh, okay. There's all kinds of fun folk magic spells that I wouldn't necessarily know, but like my mom had her own group of spells too, like growing up that she would teach me. They were based on like Catholic folk magic.
Do you remember
Catholic folk magic?
Yeah. So, obviously there's like the Catholic Church, but then there's the regular folk, and there's a long running tradition of like people who are Catholic, like, the way like in like Haiti, let's say, like a lot of people are Catholic, but they also practice voodoo practices too, So it's the same thing. So there'd be like Catholic folk magic where you have to believe all the things in the Bible, but then you also do all these other things, like maybe peeing in someone's tea, or my mom would like take a statue of Saint Joseph and bury it upside down in the front of the house if she wanted to sell the house to get it, like, when she was moving.
Like a superstition.
Exactly. So that's like kind of like the folk magic.
Yeah, there's something else like shitting in someone's lawn, like taking a shit and burying it. Yeah. It's supposed to like take away their prosperity.
Oh, Amelia told me like if you want to get rid of someone and shut them the fuck up, you take their picture, you write a name on it, you put it in a cup, you put a little pee in the cup, right? You close it, seal it, put aluminum foil around it so if they try to get out, it goes back in, and you freeze them. You put them on ice.
Yeah, I got stuff in my freezer, plenty of things.
What's in your freezer, sis?
Maybe she can't say it.
No, I need to.
I don't want to I don't want to say out.
Don't say
loud,
the people.
But just like
for.
Yeah. It's just like
say what is, what's in your freezer? Because I ain't never eaten at your house, girl.
It's in the way back.
We're gonna be at the charity festival, like, let's get there.
Yeah, let's
just
Chipotle,
like
bitch.
you want to like cut ties with someone and
that's
keep
it.
them
Cutting cords. That's what she called it.
Or there's like you want someone to like have sweet feelings for you and like.
What's that one?
That's like pouring honey on. You could even write someone's name on a piece of paper and pour honey on it and tie it up and.
They Instagram
put
name
it in the
work?
freezer.
What if I don't know their whole name? Instagram name work?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean,
because listen,
it is modern day witchcraft.
It is actually. I have a friend who like anoints her phone before swiping on Tinder. There's all kinds of ways that the digital intersects.
Wait, say that one again.
Anoints her phone.
So if you like, let's say I have this Jezebel oil that
Hold on.
I'm getting a riot.
You know, who do you want? Who do you want on? Hold on, because I'm about to go to who I want.
Some fine ass French black dude that works on.
Oh, wait, who? Oh, I thought you was about to say this.
Let's go. Come on.
I'm finding him.
Yeah, I am not an herbologist or like I don't make oils, but I have friends who do. So let's say like I have my friends, love oil or love draw oil or Jezebel oil. Like you could anoint your phone like all four, corners. And yeah, there's so many ways to do it.
Oh, you put it on all four corners because this is who I want,
Siri,
y'all.
Listen.
His name is Ruby Lashik. He's a soccer player, but this is who I want. He's so goddamn
so cute.
Wow.
So what do I do to get him to just DM me back? Because that's all I need.
Because the thing is, I think the best kind of witchcraft is the kind like you like feel that is authentic.
You have an intent.
If you do something that like you think is just from some dusty old book or someone else and you think it's dumb, it's not going to work. So you have to do something that feels like right.
I masturbated to him.
That sex magic. We got to talk about sex magic.
Oh, sex magic, bitch. Get into it.
I got this book deal from Sex Magic.
You got what?
This book deal
came from.
And I got another book deal recently from more Sex Magic.
Wait, what is that? Come on.
She put the spell on the publishing company.
Magic. Come on, let's go.
Sex magic, like witchcraft, sex magic means a lot of things and a lot of different traditions. Like I'm not initiated into a tradition. I have my own like shit that I just learned from family stuff and from friends and what felt right to me. And some other people like really like a serious codified path that other people have written books about and have sacred texts. That's not for me. That's too close to like organized religion for me.
Okay.
So there's no sacred texts in my world. I go with my intuition and what works. And it's all sort of still working with nature-based shit. But the digital is obviously important. That world is what we live in. But so shock rubs, you were talking about crystal eggs.
Shock
You know
rubs.
shock rubs?
Bro, I need them to sponsor us.
Okay, I love Vanessa. she's in the book.
I fucking
Yeah,
used
tell
it.
Vanessa how
All right.
Oh my God, bro. Like, it would be perfect.
She would, I'm sure she
I
would love
used
that.
one with someone else. Her and I were like, it was amazing. But I didn't want to like puppet too much.
But no, but even talking about it, so we kind of slightly brought it up with Amelia, who mentioned kind of just crystals and how they relate to sex.
Oh, yeah.
And us saying the importance that this isn't y'all going out buying crystals and shoving it in your... No.
Do not do that.
No,
No,
don't do
the
that.
sharp, like, dude, no way.
No
I have
sharp
some
edge.
selenite that has like poked me before.
Ooh.
Yeah. So sex magic and shock rubs even, you're saying?
Yeah, so I used a shock rub. I used to do my own sex magic without anything else when I was younger. I realized I was doing sex magic without knowing until...
How?
I would masturbate and like think about things and envision goals and things.
And it would happen?
And it would happen.
I know. I'd be doing that.
Wait,
too.
masturbating, like thinking about a new job?
Kind of like about the feeling, just like walking into a room feeling like powerful or whatever. Sometimes you'd be thinking about a person too while you're jacking off or whatever, but sort of having this goal-oriented practice or like thinking about raising certain types of feelings or
I get it.
like a hot outfit you're wearing and you feel so powerful and sensual in that moment.
Oh my God, Kristin, I masturbated in the suit I was wearing for the job I got. And I was just really, really horny that day, but I didn't do it with intent.
But you still were wearing...
I felt really good in the suit. I masturbated and it was like, oh, like it just felt so good.
And then you got the job.
I did.
There you go. That's the same thing. It doesn't have to always be like conscious like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I met a friend who was a creative director for a publishing house, and I told her I teach a class based on this at the New School.
Yeah.
So I
That's
told her
dope.
about that, and then she's like, "Oh, maybe you should do a book proposal or whatever." But I don't know. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna get it. So I just thought, okay, I really need to make this shit happen. You know, I even had a friend like carve a candle for me with like, and I, you know, put all my intentions into that, and it was a full moon, and I had my shock rub, and it was a rose quartz one, a pink one, because it was for like self-love to really just like get into.
I put rose quartz sometimes in my panties.
Totally. Or you could do like, I've also done with obsidian to like get rid of all the negative feelings you might have about something to set you free to like really get the next step.
Maybe I should put one in
your
my ass
goal
because I'm
list.
really scared about my ass.
There you go.
Really?
Obsidian in my booty. I got obsidian anal.
So yeah, I did it, and then the day I pressed send on the proposal, I did my ritual, you know, jerked off with my chalk rub. A month later, on the next full moon, I got an email saying you have it.
You basically fucked yourself into my hands.
Shut up.
Wow. That was
amazing.
People can, and I actually teach a class with a friend of mine. It's a sex and color magic class on how to use like color, like you said, your outfit.
I'm like,
you
oh,
can
like people of
use-
color.
Right. I'm like, I only like black cock. sorry. That's the color
thought
that
you
I
meant
go
sex
for.
and color.
And I don't even like saying the word cock, but when I put black in front of it, I'm sorry, that's what I like. So we're not talking
Okay, that,
about...
you know what?
No,
we are
we're
not
not-
trying to fuck up your book deal. Let me shut up. Damn.
So not colored people, but color.
like
I feel dumb.
the color of your bedspread or your sheets or the room
Oh.
the color you paint your room or the outfit you wear, the lingerie while you're jerking off. Like
I
the
love
colored
all
lighting.
white.
But okay, it's always black. My sheets are always all white, and then my
See-
clothes are always all black.
Same.
What do I need to
What is
change
the
up?
difference? Yeah.
You know, all different colors have a different sort of energetic frequency, and they also mean different things. And
So
so,
what-
if you
can
like
you give us
money,
some
let's say
colors?
green.
Green is
okay.
green.
So you want some money. I had a friend who was always like, yeah, when you jerk off, like get some greenery, like some live plants, you know, some fresh green,
I know.
you know, and
Got
then
20 plants.
obviously imagine like green exploding and falling on you, or money, you know, when you reach
And
climax
red
or something.
is kind of more
I
like
know
a
I can
sex.
come to that.
Red is,
Sure,
red is very like.
absolutely.
Oh my God, I have a glow light that's red
If
when
you
I
do the red light in the
Yes.
room, it's supposed to bring more sexual
Exactly.
energy. I did hear about that because my daddy's Jamaican and he had a red light, and when that red light was on, I stayed away from the bedroom.
Dude,
I
you
know.
remember that?
I swear to God, I was like, Daddy, why your light red? And then we ended up talking to one of his girlfriends, and I'm like, my daddy, we not going into the room when the light bulb is red because I'm not trusting.
So I
the
have
sheets.
a what is it called when the water humidifier thingy it glows? I put the oils in it.
Ooh.
So sometimes I change the color. Like I notice when I want like a little bit of softer sex, it's like that light blue. But I don't know. I
You
don't.
were practicing like color and sex magic right
Oh
there.
my God, this is so cool.
I knew you was a witch. I knew it. I knew
This
it
is
the
so
whole
fun
time.
for me right
Knew it
now.
the whole
Okay,
goddamn time.
so I want to play this game really quick. Only with you. Basically, I just called Who Dat, and I want to say a name, and you just tell me about what's going on from your book. So first one is Tituba, the Black Salem witch. Who the fuck is that?
One of the first 3 women accused of witchcraft in Salem. And she was the only black woman accused of witchcraft. Actually, her race is ambiguous. Sorry, I don't
That's
know
what
what I
they
was
say
about
for
to
us
say.
too.
But some people think she was an indigenous woman
Okay.
from Barbados, and some people think she was
I
black.
thought she was
And
Bayesian,
so-
too.
Right. So it's still not known. The documents, it's kind of because her last name was Indian. So they don't, because she also could have been married to an indigenous man, and his, like, they would call him John Indian was her husband's
Yeah.
name. So they don't really know.
Why was she
Because-
so famous though?
She's so famous because
She believes in that free love sex.
no, there's not really a sexual aspect to her.
Oh wait, no, maybe that was someone else.
But Well, actually, no. The reason why you're thinking it is because in actual historical sense that we know of, she was just accused of being a witch, and she came out and said, yeah, I saw all these other women in town doing witchy shit too with the devil. So they were trying to fuck with her, and she fucked with them back, and she survived. She actually did not get put to death. So
wow.
But we don't really know, according to history, what happened to her. But there was this book that I write about by Marie Condé, which is I, Tituba, Black Witch of Salem.
Yeah.
And it totally reframes the
it.
story. Yeah. And Tituba is a totally sex-positive witch, and she ends up getting to Salem through all kinds of strange mishaps. And she is a slut in the best sense of the word. And she's always trying to tell the white Puritan women she's around to not be so fucking uptight. And sex is not of the devil, but a natural human, beautiful experience. It is. So that
I like that.
We have no proof that that's real, but it was a great part of.
No, I
book,
like that. So the second one, which I feel like some of us should know. I don't know if you've seen Dinner Party, the installation at the Brooklyn Museum.
Of course.
The shit. Sojourner Truth was in it.
Yes.
If you guys don't know what it is, I'm gonna try to describe it. It's in the shape of a pussy. Really in my head, it's the triangle, right? And it's all these plates, and it basically shows you in the version of, I don't know, a dinner plate, what their pussy would look like. For example, Georgia O'Keeffe, the artist we know with flowers, her pussy looked like a flower, and Sojourner Truth was on there. Can you tell us who that is if we don't know?
Yes. So she was formerly a slave and then was emancipated and was a great orator. And basically went around and gave these beautiful, impassioned speeches to hundreds of people about the realities of Black women and enslaved women, and basically was shaking up the suffragist movement at the time, when a lot of the suffragists are super racist and saying, women's rights only for white women.
But this was also good. So Sojourner Truth was someone that I learned in school very long time ago. And there's a festival in Eatonville, Florida, called the Zora Neale Hurston Festival.
Yeah.
So Sojourner Truth was also, with her means of orating and speaking and writing for people, it meant a lot because, of course, as you guys know, education, writing, those things were not given to slaves, let alone women.
Right.
So she actually, was very known during, I'm not going to say civil rights movement or anything like that because it was well before that time.
But someone we talked about it,
but it was, but as a woman coming out, being able to hold those type of
Why
speaking
is Eatonville
engagements.
so popular? It's not the first
It's
black
the first
city.
black city.
Is it the first black city?
In Florida.
That's right. Okay.
And it's in Orlando, Florida, which is where we're from. So, but Sojourner Truth, Zora Neale Hurston, all of that.
And she was accused of being a witch, and she actually won a court case and got money for it because people said you're a witch, and she was like, "Fuck that, I'm not a witch."
I'm not.
I love it.
In the sense of the term back then, witch.
Yeah. So, third one I have in there, you wrote something about after Martin Luther King died, the witches of NYC started. What the fuck?
Oh, I think I was just setting context for what was happening in the world. It wasn't a direct response to that.
Okay, gotcha.
But it was this.
But they were protesting.
Activist group called the Women's International Terrorist Conspiracy from Hell, which is Witch, WITCH. And they dressed up as witches and would do these sort of protests, guerrilla theater, performance art / protests. They hexed the New York City Stock Exchange. None of them, as far as I know, really believed in anything
I saw they took brooms around when they were protesting.
Right.
Shit.
Wow.
They're sort of using
Making
the witch
fun
as a
of witch.
feminist mascot in a way.
I like that.
So,
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like after reading your book, I really wanted to.
because even them having the brooms or dressing up, that's also just the narrative idea of what we think of a witch. Even if we look at the witches in The Wizard of Oz and stuff, the good witch, bad witch, but bad witch had the pointy hat, the pointy shoes.
Right.
Now, I want to point
broom.
what's funny about Mandy saying this is when you sat down, Mandy was like, I just want to let you know I don't like witches. I don't like
witches, bro.
But you getting woke now.
I'm getting woke. Bitch, I'm always awake, ho.
Well, there's just so many ways to talk about the witch as a figure and an archetype, and my dad being a super atheist, he would think so much of this is bullshit, but when it's couched in this political, sense, there's a real history that I think is important. So in that sense,
I like how it ties back to just sexuality and feminism and just essentially men not wanting to allow a woman to be a woman, experience the woman body, and not just allow us to feel those same things and the same orgasms that men get to it. So I think it's
absolutely,
and I like how you tie that into, again, the slut shaming, what we're dealing with today.
You brought up,
what it's doing.
She brought up Hillary with the burn her at the stake thing, and I just love that, like, basically witches are now sluts and feminists, and it's the same shit.
Yeah, I like
are
that.
they any other black feminists that you think we should all know about or rejoice in? I know our modern day one we could say is like an Amber Rose. You brought up her slut walk and how important it is, but like, are there any other ones that you think should be maybe highlighted or not as well known?
I mean, she's well known, but in a different way. Brie Luna, who runs the Hood Witch. I think
okay.
She's a super inspiring, badass witch.
She had her own room at 29 Rooms?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
did you go?
Refinery 29.
Yeah.
It was a Hood Witch.
She's killing it. She's also an awesome person and super funny and creative. And what she's
I don't know her
done
name, so
with this, with her business and like building the visibility of, you know, a different like way we see the witch. Because a lot of, you know, Hollywood films, at least TV, witches are white, and you know,
Facts.
right?
Do you follow the Hood Witch?
No.
And that is like not the way real witches are. Real witches are every different type of like
Actually,
race.
I'm trying to
Dude, I'm trying to think of a black witch.
Black witch. I'm trying to think too.
In pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean now there's like the Vampire Diaries had some, and you know it's
Really?
not as many.
I don't watch
mean,
Vampire
Me
Diaries.
neither.
Yeah,
American Horror Story, okay.
That whole.
Oh, okay.
Damn, is there anything else?
But yeah, it's really
Damn, there don't be black
woefully
witches.
like.
Actually, the Oz was so.
Girl,
it
that's the
but
Black
it was the
Wizard of
Wizard of Oz, but the black one, and there was a black witch in that. Damn.
I mean, I guess
I mean, technically,
Yeah, apart from American
but it
Horror
made
Story
Dorothy
Coven,
black.
It was
and the-
really
the
just
lion
the Oz.
was black.
Yeah, the Oz was
everyone
great.
Black. My bad.
So
Yeah.
every week we get home mail, right? Which is basically our listener questions that they send in, and I wanted to read this one.
Uh-oh.
Hello, ladies. I don't even know how to start this. Hope it makes it on your show. She wrote twice, but like, please read this on your show.
Okay.
Happy New Year. I love it. You guys are going strong in your lives. So it gives me hope for the women empowerment movement. Thank you. So my home mail is that I want to be more sexually open and try things like a threesome or even using toys or just being more of a freak overall. I grew up in a church, strong and forced home, both with my mom and dad. So all of that wasn't the Lord was banished. Now as a woman in my 30s, I've had sex, of course, and I have 2 partners, one male, one female.
Okay.
Now, I was with a woman in college for 3 years, and it was bad. I felt verbally, emotional, abused, cheated on, used. And now that I'm with a man, we have connections about sex, and I do feel bad that I'm not into trying anything new, including toys, lube, watching porn. My question is whether there's something I should do to be more open, or should I leave him? Basically, because it's not happening with him. Real quick, I have a young sister who went far away to college and she dated nothing but white men. We're a black family, by the way. My mom kicked her out of the house years ago and she checked my sister's email and found she was sending nudes to white men. I've never tried pink cock and I was interested, but that situation with my sister and my mom put me off. Any advice would be great. Keep up the show. I feel like she brought that up because we assume that like white guys are like into freakier
That
shit.
they're more into freakier
But like,
shit,
bitch,
yeah.
why do we have a show? Like,
I mean, we're trying to. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, and I've said it more times than not. I've never been with pink dick. I've only been with. Sorry, because you're white.
Don't
I don't know.
be
Can I
sorry.
say pink dick? Okay, I'm sorry. I don't want to.
hilarious.
My bad. But I've never.
they're all kind of big.
I've never had pink
I'm gonna
dick,
call it that from now on.
You know, yeah. So like all of these sexual experiences that I've had, and y'all know y'all call me like the freakiest, like it's so nasty, but they've all been with black men. So I think it is opening up. If unfortunately he's telling you he's not into this, again, I think communication is super big. Maybe you
I
telling
don't even
him,
know if you're bringing it up. It sounds like you're
yeah,
not
it
even
doesn't
bringing
sound
it
like
up.
you're not bringing it up, but you can start off small ways. Be like, listen, babe, I came across this porn and it's kind of wild, but look at it and kind of just gauge what he thinks about
I think
it.
watching porn together is the easiest
I
thing.
think definitely.
But
I think we've said that
I
before.
wanted to really read this with you because I feel, again, like religion kind of puts that little
is.
zap
Yeah.
on us.
It is.
And I wanted to ask specifically because maybe she needs to hear it and it's not a direct answer to her, but like, how does religion really shape the way we think about sex and how can it then factor in later? Like, what does it do to us?
Well, most like monotheistic religions demonize sex, particularly for women and women.
And before marriage.
Right.
So-
so if you're like born into that, it's really, really hard to like deprogram your mind, and it's a constant process you have to go through. And you should be like, give yourself a break too for not knowing like where to turn or how to go forward. I think that's awesome that someone would come out and ask those questions because it's brainwashing, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't think you should feel bad if you grew up like that. You can't help it.
You can't.
You can't help how you're born.
I did an episode on our Patreon, which one of my best friends on there, James, talks about.
Oh, the cult shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, he calls his evangelist like family a cult, right?
Cult.
Which is great. But he says, like my mom would cut out pictures of breast, like cleavage in newspapers. He's like, I jerked off for the first time and like I didn't know what happened, what came out of me. He's like, bro, like everything about sex, I was fucked up, like because of this fucking bullshit, religion that I went through and how it just made me feel like everything was bad. He said that he even heard in church once you shouldn't jerk off because it'll make you gay from touching dick.
Oh my God.
And even though that's extreme,
That's very extreme.
I feel like her saying religion was in her home. I feel like that's what makes it so scary to then bring it up.
No,
Right, because even talking about it is wrong somehow.
That shame.
Yeah, wanting to do anything sexual in some way is wrong in the back of your mind, maybe.
Or even bringing it back to where we sit here and demonize women for wanting to have sex or experiencing sex. And then if they lose it before marriage, now you're tarnished. Now you're soiled. Now you're bad goods.
Right.
So even to grow up in that type of environment where that's your mindset, I can get where now it may be even hard for her to say, maybe I kind of want to try kinky things, but maybe it's her not even knowing how to express it herself.
Yeah.
That's a good
So
point.
or maybe it's just in her head,
So if
and she feels like he won't do it with her.
If she can't say the words, because we have so many questions we get like this.
We do.
What would be your advice to someone that can't blatantly say what they want? What are other ways to like be inventive with sex or ask for
I like that question.
things that you want?
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, I want you to fuck my throat.
Because they don't really know yet, because that, like, figuring it out what you want first is important, right?
Of course.
Oh, that's a better.
So
yeah.
I think that is, like, all in the realm of fantasy, and that could be done with, like a masturbation challenge. Like, if you sit with yourself and, like, make yourself, pleasure yourself.
Without porn, you mean?
Right. Just, like, what
I like
do you
that.
think
I
of?
like that.
What comes to your mind? What do you like?
What turns you
That's
on?
a fun thing to do.
So then, over a month, like, write down all the things that come up and then try them in real life. Or at least, decide if that's something you want to broach the subject
Or even,
for.
I don't know how old she is,
Masturbation
but
challenge. I like that.
something that works when I'm dating someone or when I'm trying to get to know how kinky someone is, I say, let's play the game 21 Questions.
Ooh.
You never really get to 21 questions, but then it just opens the dialogue. Like, let's not even limit what we can ask, but it's 21 questions. How would you answer this? And so it's gauging what's really kinky to you. Would you try this? This came to mind. Have you ever watched this type of porn? And so you turn it into a game to where you can even start off by saying some of these things I've never done.
Right.
But I just want to know what your take is on it. So
Yeah.
then you turn it into just something kind of whimsical and kind of childish.
Yeah.
But now you're not, saying that, ooh, I'm into all
Because
these things.
honestly, like sex is really fun. Like
It is.
I had a
Yeah.
guy I dated once that I knew wouldn't be for me because he said I laughed during sex and he thought that was disrespectful. It was a Slovenian guy.
What are you
And
in church or something?
He was like, that really made me uncomfortable. You know how much funny shit happens during sex?
No, mad
You
funny
have to
shit.
laugh. You can't
Mad
laugh
funny
at
Yo,
shit.
think
really
about
not
when you're
good.
switching positions and like you're like, oh fuck, like how can I not laugh a little? I laugh every time I have
be
sex.
laughing.
Dude,
I be laughing when I'm like, all right, I'm done riding. I hope you don't think I was gonna ride for long, nigga.
dude, that's probably my first
I be
laugh.
laughing, bro.
The last time I laughed really hard during sex, me and Scissors were having sex, and we're using this like double dong. We put it down. I'm going down on her. We pick it back up, and because it's jelly, all his hair is stuck to it. And I'm like, bitch, between yours and my fucking weave,
Yeah.
look at this. Like,
Yeah, I think the last time I laughed during sex was, and I'm not gonna say when because I might get to it. But he came. I asked him, and I think I talked about this on a Patreon episode. So I asked him to come on my face. That's kind of what I asked. But he shot out like as I was saying to come on my face, so I missed the closing my eye part, and it went in my eye, and I'm laughing because I'm literally like this, and I'm like, you came in my eye, and he thought it was the funniest thing, and I'm like, I just got my lashes done, and he's laughing, but I'm like, nah, nigga, these was $80, and I'm mad, but he's
oh my God,
laughing
Kristin, I
because
gotta tell you, someone wrote
It was
in,
so
right?
funny.
And was like, oh, I wanted to know if you guys could like debunk this question, but somebody came in my eye and I swear I could feel it swimming
Oh, we
in
talked
there.
about this before. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah. And really, literally, we sat here and was talking about, she thought there was
But hold on,
the
dude.
sperm that you
No,
could
no,
feel
I
the
didn't think it
sperm.
was, but then it happened to me after, like, oh man, I feel it. I feel it.
You don't feel
It's
shit
just
with
'cause
your
it
lying
tingles.
ass.
And you
Lying
just-
It's
ass.
just the burn.
When's the
Yeah,
last
well,
time
yeah.
you laughed during sex? What happened?
I was pretty drunk, and there was like I was also really hungry, and so it was kind of like a late night, like meet up, and it was at my place, and there was like a bag of chips next to the bed, and I was like,
already laughing.
and I'm on top, and I'm like,
You did not start eating chips while you was fucking.
Oh my god! Do you watch Insecure?
yes,
Do you remember when she was eating the Dorito and she was like, oh?
yes, I'm not.
Get the fuck out
And I'm
of
not
here.
like super into food and sex, but I was just super drunk, and it was like he's a funny guy, and we laughed together a lot, and I was like, I'm just gonna, and he thought it was fucking funny, and I was like, you know what?
I'm gonna
This guy
feed it
can
to you.
hang. I love this
that's
dude.
your
Can't
husband,
hang.
bro.
That was
He might need to
awesome.
be your husband.
I hope that chick was
I ain't
good.
even gonna hold you.
I would love with someone to laugh at that. Like,
No, I like that.
that really just made me think of Insecure.
But it's crazy because when you do other things while having sex, like I'm not gonna lie, for me having sex, don't watch TV while, because then there's certain things I don't like when people do. I like when my nigga smokes his blunt while I'm sucking his dick, but I don't like if he's watching TV while I'm sucking his dick. Because then I feel some type of way.
difference.
There is a difference.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I like
Is
when
there
people are on the
anything that you don't like?
phone when I'm going down with
Oh,
them.
I love when people are on the phone when I'm sucking their dick. Them trying to keep a straight
Oh, that is
face.
good. Okay, not like a business call, but like so.
Even a business call, that makes it even better.
That's true.
You're trying to talk business
You getting those spreadsheets over, huh?
I love, let your mama call you while I'm sucking your dick.
Oh my
I
God.
love shit like that. I'm sorry.
Ew.
I love it.
No, you already talked about admitting incest.
Okay, so not really like that, but I like for him to try to keep a straight face and make it seem
That's
like
hot. No,
he's
no,
not
that's
being
hot.
pleasant. Okay, Mom, let me call you back. I'm a little busy. I don't know. I like that shit.
It's
my bad.
It's taboo.
Okay,
oh,
yeah, there we
to
go.
answer your question about pink tick, listen, I will tell you that I used to say that I thought, like, when I first started dating white guys, I was like, oh, okay, they're freakier. No, I just think there's this all-around weird thing where with black men and women, we feel like we can't say it, so we kind of just wait for it to happen.
Yep.
Whereas I don't know why that's just our thing. Whereas with white guys, yeah, it did just happen where guys would tell me what they liked quicker, faster, or asked to try things with me where that didn't really happen.
You can finger my ass. Like, black guys aren't saying that until you stick a finger in there and then they move that little butt so you can stick more in there.
Exactly.
But you're not saying it.
So, like,
you're right. I like that.
And it's really
You're
true
right.
because I was like, oh, initially I'm like, white guys are freakier, but like they're not, right? It's just
They can just talk about it more.
right, because I think there's another thing of like black men maybe not even wanting to be quote unquote disrespectful, right? Like there's that big thing around there where like we want to make sure like I don't know, I feel like in my opinion, I don't know if you can agree, Kristin, but like I felt like it was cooler for like white girls at my school to be sluts over like the black girls. Like I feel like it was
Yeah, there's way more like ability to be a slut and then go be like a respected member of society. Like there's not that like double stigma. Totally. It's way
that's what it
easier
is.
for
It didn't
white
feel
men.
like
And class is an issue too, you know? Like,
yes.
more money you have, the whiter you are, the easier it is to be like, I'm a slut, and then still be treated like a human.
Yes.
Ah.
When I was on Van's show, I was saying it, but I couldn't articulate it. It was in my
Right.
head, but I couldn't figure out what I was
That's
thinking.
a good way to say it, though.
But I really have felt like that. Like I felt like with my white friends, they would get excited about it, and with like black girls, it was just like, I can never.
Like for sure, sucking dick. Y'all's name's Becky with the good head. Like,
True.
but it's white girls. Like y'all are praised at like being able to suck.
Well, we don't know
dick
your ethnicity,
better.
but I'm guessing.
I'm guessing you know how to give good head. And unfortunately, with black girls, like that stigma has been to where maybe
You suck dick too good. How?
Well, no, either that or maybe black girls don't give us good head because you can't touch their hair. They don't want their hair touched and things like that around black women sucking dick compared to white girls putting that shit up in a ponytail and just going at it.
There's a meme we posted today with like you sucking the soul out of him with your wig off. Like, I'm sorry, but like I had to really get around like only with white guys, and now I don't care. Like having a sew-in and being like, are they gonna touch my braids and feel weird? And now I don't give a fuck.
Oh, I don't, and my shit be blending, and then I be like, just so you know, this ain't all mine. Because then when they get to feeling, and I know that they're confused, because I'll have guys that like go to pull it, and then I feel them like touching it, and yes, it's a sew-in. You want me to keep sucking your dick or not? You could touch it, like, but I think that some of them think it's my natural hair until they go.
Dude,
to
but hold
touch
on,
it.
white girls got clip-ins, and
They
you know
do.
what?
Totally.
They do.
I'm-
And tapes. What is it? Y'all be taping your hair in, right?
Tape, micro beading.
Look at us trying to get the
I've
white
never
people
tried
sewing.
it, but
She's like, bitch,
She's
I got hair.
no. Okay, Becky with the good hair.
Okay, so let's
No,
go
that was
ahead
fun to
and
talk
let
about,
our
though.
listeners know where they can find you, where they can possibly get your book. If you have any other books for them to read, if they like Witches, Sluts, Feminists, what else can our listeners do to get you?
yeah,
Find you. All that
find
good
me
stuff.
on Instagram. It's Kristin Corvette with a K.
Ooh,
Yeah, we're gonna.
so
It's in the
slutty.
description of this. In the description of here, we're gonna put her book title, her Instagram, her site, and we'll also tag it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I have a new book coming out next fall.
What's it called?
Which is like kind of a part 2.
Hello.
But
You don't know
it's
a name?
involving how cats actually have been coded as these like hypersexual
Pussies?
feline entities. Yeah, why do we call it a pussy? Like, why is it, why are women catty? Like, what are all these associations with cats
Ooh.
and sex and women? And like, if you look on like the stockroom, let's say, just like
You guys, are y'all friends? So this whole just made me do a whole episode on animals with sex, animals having sex.
Oh.
and all that
No,
shit.
but, like-
evolution and how we came from, like all this bullshit about animals fucking. So y'all may have or may not have listened to that episode yet, but we did a whole fucking episode about animals fucking.
Bro, but no, for real though, like think about the cat emoji, how it's got like the it looks hotter.
yeah, why do we think cats? Why are cats sluts? So that's basically, and also there's a history in also at the time of the witch trials, many cats were also put to death and like associated with
The black
witchcraft,
cat,
right?
like,
Or the
yep.
cat lady archetype, all these like weird cats and women associations, like dogs are men, cats are women. Like why? What is
I
all
like
this?
that.
So that's my next
Catty.
book. Yeah, it's called Cat Call.
Oh!
Reclaiming the feral feminine.
Damn that too.
So-
Okay, so we gotta
So
read
that's
that
next
one
fall.
and then redo this.
Okay,
Fun.
next fall is in 2020.
No, like this 2019
Oh,
fall.
2019 fall
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
dope. Well, I mean,
Awesome.
until then, we brought your book. Do you do any like talks?
I do talks. I do events, and like I post about them all on my Instagram. Mostly, I have a website that's boring. No one goes to a website, right?
Not anymore.
No.
Bro, we
Instagram.
bought the domain, but we don't
And
use
we're
it.
like, we ain't even posted yet. Like, we go to websites.
I went on WordPress to start it, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, no.
So much effort.
It's a ton. You got to get the graphics. It's just it's a lot.
But how? Oh, what's the proper way to buy your book to put
Oh.
money in your pocket? Let's talk about that.
Good way.
I
yes.
do usually sell it. I just sold out, but I will replenish,
Humble
and I
flex.
sell.
I just sold out.
No, but the thing is, I gotta no. I
It's
gotta
good.
buy my own books from the publisher. It's kind of weird, I
know how that's set up,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
Fuck.
It's so stupid.
it's not. Oh, you have to buy a high number. So sometimes I don't actually have the money to buy my own books to sell.
That's insane.
But you can get it on like IndieBound or The Strand or Amazon if you're not against Amazon.
The Strand gets you good money.
Yeah,
Dope.
Strand is good.
The Strand's a dope
but
place to meet
yeah,
people.
If you on my
Amazon,
website,
as long as you get $100, you get paid out and
That's
stuff
true.
through that. So yeah.
Okay, so Amazon will get you paid
Amazon's
well,
fine.
too?
On my website, if you do buy it, I get I send you like a little patch that says "Sex Witch" and like little
Ooh.
stickers and shit.
Okay,
so,
I like that.
Yeah, so that like is the most money in my pocket, but also just buy the damn book however you want, man. I'm just
Right.
happy to share this information.
Is there
definitely gonna be
audiobook
reading it.
version?
I just finished recording the audiobook.
Congrats.
It's going to be out I hope in a couple months.
You speak well, so I'll listen. I like
thank
that. Yeah.
You speak, Mandy. I hate when you say that.
What?
You can talk English.
I'm just
I
saying,
appreciate it. Thank you.
She's into accents. And we
Okay,
got so
hold on. You know
much.
what? Let me. To be fair, we've had guests where we're like, "Oh my god, like, come on, like,
Just fucking talk already.
Are they, like, weird?
You've spoken very well all episode. The same as King Noir, who also came on. And so him, I love when men speak well.
Oh,
I have this super crush on a man who's taken, but he has a podcast. If you guys, girl, he's taken though. He was just on Van's show. So if you guys want to hear an intellectual
Adrian
man talk,
Foster?
I love Arian Foster and how he
Or
talks,
Arian.
his mindset. He's also into like science. He's an atheist, and
He's
I
into science.
No,
That got my
I-
pussy wet.
No, it makes me but like, so he makes atheism sound sexy. I'm not gonna lie, he's the only
Yeah.
one. I'm like, okay, maybe
Bro,
I
because
could.
that shit is like mad woke.
I know he's so woke. So because of how he speaks, though,
Yeah.
it turns me on. So I think I'm a sapiosexual bitch. Thank you very much, ho. That's all. So
Oh yeah, keep going. Where else can we find you?
Yes,
I
I think
She's
she
like,
said
what the fuck I
everywhere.
said?
No, I think she said everywhere.
think, yeah, that's it.
Are you on Twitter? Do,
I'm on
do you
Twitter
engage with a lot of
also.
people? Okay.
Not more Instagram. I
Okay,
just
of
like
course.
I
Us too.
should pick up my Twitter game, but I don't know.
Good, Graham.
Yeah, I'm just trying, and I also have the Slutist Instagram also, but that's more like Slutist. That's just that's not me, but like the site and. All
If
the
you ever
things.
have some, so like we have the vanilla shit, some good sluttish stuff for us to
We would love the
include just
articles,
for
yeah.
us.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
I would love
every
that.
episode we have a vanilla shit, so we
Great.
would love to send.
Yeah, we
traffic
can get
your way.
featured in sites too. That's
Yeah, I need Sluts of the Month always.
Oh, there you go. We are
civilian sluts.
What? Yeah, civilian sluts.
No,
you gotta put that.
all sluts. You know?
Okay, there we go. There we go.
You know, us, we're the month.
All right, well, guys, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Again, we are looking forward to seeing all of you guys on tour. That is motherfucking Atlanta coming up on 2/23, New York City, March 9th. If you haven't gotten your tickets now, they are selling the fuck fast. As you guys see, our dates sell out quick as fuck because y'all love us and everybody's hoes in real life. So if you guys want to see us, y'all better get your tickets. Don't wait till your paycheck. You better ask one of your sugar daddies. Also, again, looking forward to seeing you guys in Houston on 420. Yes, we'll smoke with you after. But also, please remember to bring tampons, bring pads, bring anything that goes. We are donating and partnering with Flow Code, which is an organization that is helping underprivileged women. Sorry, not underserving. Underprivileged women who can't afford menstrual products. So please, if you're coming to our show in Houston, go ahead and come with your tampons, your pads. Even if you're not bleeding, sis, bring that with you.
We keep forgetting to bring that up. And I watched this like really small documentary. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. It was about homeless women when they're on their periods.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was on Facebook circulating maybe. And this girl was like, sometimes like I'll take towels I have, like I don't know what to do.
Napkins, it's really
going
bad.
into fucking stores and getting
Flow
napkins.
Code is based in Texas, so I'm super excited to be partnering with them. As you guys know, a percentage of our sales is going to them, but we're also donating product. And if you guys can't make it to Houston, there is a donation link on that ticket. So if you guys are in another city and not in Texas but want to donate to the cause, we do have a donate link on our Eventbrite. And again, see you guys in LA. Miami, and Toronto.
And Chicago.
And Chicago, bitch. 2 shows. That shit probably sold out by now, so I didn't want to say that because that shit we got like 10 tickets.
I mean, we'll still see them.
Okay, we'll see y'all in Chicago. And with Patreon.
So we have a clip we're going to play you of our Patreon. If you think this episode was great, thank you. If you think it could have been better and you want to help out with it, call us at the $15 here on Patreon. After 4 months, we send you merch. But before that, right in the beginning, if you want us to call you, send us your number. We'll go through our outline of the week for you, give us feedback, help us, and produce an episode. For just $5, you get 3 bonus episodes per month every Monday right after this episode. So thank you, Kristin.
Thank you so
much for coming.
Was it the funnest podcast you've been on right now?
Hey.
Yes, obviously.
Hello. And guys, this has been yet another episode of Horrible Decisions.
Bye.
Bye.